brisk week of trading will be ending up on Thursday rather than a Friday on the eve of Dasera, another long weekend in front of us. Let's take a quick stock of how markets performed on Wednesday and how they've opened up this Thursday morning. US September inflation data came in, and inflation is up 0.4% on a month-on-month basis and 5.4% on a year-on-year basis. Now, this is around 10 basis points, which is 0.1% higher than economists had forecasted or anticipated. Core inflation, excluding energy and food, rose 0.2% on a month-on-month basis and 4% on a year-on-year basis. Amongst earnings, JP Morgan came out with earnings which were above expectations. Global investors have digested this fresh inflation data and third quarter earnings and have remained cautious. The FOMC minutes as well were released, and that showed that the Federal Reserve had intent on a gradual taper by mid-November. US markets closed absolutely mixed. The Dow was flat. The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq gained marginally, with the S&P going up around 1/3% and the Nasdaq up around 3/4% in trade on Wednesday. Moving on to Europe, European stocks closed higher. UK GDP data came through up around 7%, 6.9 to be precise, for the month of August on a year-on-year basis. The FTSE 100 rose marginally on this news. The DAX, CAC and Stock 600 all closed over 0.5% higher in trade on Wednesday. Moving on to Asia, strong export data from China led the Shanghai to go higher. Exports for the month of September from China rose 28% on a year-on-year basis versus an expected rise of only 21%. A good, strong performance with regard to exports from China. The larger Asian markets were mixed. The Kospi was up almost 1%. The Nikkei was down around 1/3% in trade yesterday, and the ASX 200 was pretty much flat, down around 10 basis points in trade yesterday. Moving on to how Asia is looking early today morning, the Nikkei is up almost 1% higher in early trade. The ASX 200 also around 0.8% higher. The Kospi is up around 1.25% in early trade. The SGX Nifty futures, which has been making highs, was up around 1% in trade yesterday, made a high, is again at an all-time high, up around 0.5% in early trade today. The London Metal Index was up around 1.5%. That also has hit an all-time high, led by copper. Copper was up around 2% yesterday. Oil has been climbing steadily. Of course, that's a cause of concern for Indian markets. Oil is at around $80.6 a barrel as we speak. Gold has rallied as bond yields have cooled. So gold has rallied around a couple of percentage points and is at around $1,790 an ounce. As I said, bond yields cooled, which is the US Treasury yields as well as the dollar index, both fell after the Federal Reserve minutes were released. The dollar index slid around 0.5% in trade yesterday, down another 5 basis points in early trade today. So 0.5% in all broadly. And the 10-year yield for US Treasuries now is at 1.55%. Mind you, it started the week at 1.612%. So shaving off a few basis points there. Bitcoin is up around 5% in early trade today, has breached the $58,000 mark. It's a roundup on this Thursday morning.